Joined now by Eric Lombardo over the phone. Our first phone interview in a long time. And at the crack of dawn, we are taking care of business this morning. Eric, how are we doing?
Good, very good, Joe.
That's great. I'm glad to hear from you. I am also going to take this as a positive thing that I'm up this early, maybe get back into a normal groove, if you will. But before we talk about the present, I want to go to the past, and I want to focus on something that was talked about a lot last week within the Lynchburg men's lacrosse community, and go over the 2015 Gettysburg game a little bit. You were a part of the original call that technology didn't want us to use. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to put you on the next day when we did the eventual video that some people have seen. I just kind of want to know your thoughts on that game overall. And I know it's a lot to ask, but obviously, you know, the real quick notes would be first half wasn't great, second half was awesome. But what was the difference? What was, from your mind as a defensive senior, you and Hunter back there primarily, Leader was there too. I mean, what was the mindset? How did you guys turn that thing around?
I think the biggest thing is it never really felt like we were out of the game, honestly. So, and I'm sure the other guys talked about that, but it kind of felt like we were going punch for punch, and our punches weren't hitting, but we were still throwing them. So we made the belief in the coaching staff, and we did some crazy things, and some things we hadn't done before, but other things we had been doing all year, and that just kind of seemed to work. And, yeah, I mean, from a player standpoint, it didn't really change very much as you do what you were told as well as you can and keep moving. But Coach Brzezinski put us in that 42, and Coach Kudelka, obviously, and, you know, try and speed them up playing offense, and they started making some mistakes, and we got the ball back to our offense, and in a low-scoring, you know, 11-9 is a relatively low-scoring game, so every possession matters.
Take me through being on the other end of the field, watching the offense do what they did. I mean, there was a long stretch there where you guys weren't working that much. What's that like?
It's kind of exciting. I mean, in lacrosse, honestly, whoever time of possession is pretty directly correlated to wins. Mm-hmm. So anytime I got to watch our offense work, that was a good thing. And it was obviously exciting when all the punches we were throwing that weren't falling in the first half, every single one of them fell, and we got ridiculous bounces in the second half that somehow all of a sudden started going our way. So the second half of that game was really exciting, I'm sure, to watch.
It was. I was there. I got to be a part of that, and it was something that I haven't seen since. So incredible. Moving on a little bit in the future after that, you found yourself at York College and under the direction of Brandon Childs, former Lynchburg player, graduated in 2003. Then you came to Lynchburg after that and was obviously an assistant coach under Coach Kudelka. What similarities are there? I mean, some people would assume that there's a lot, and certainly with Coach Childs being early on in his coaching career at that point, did it feel, I mean, like you were just changing colors and it was pretty much the same thing, or could you tell that Coach Childs was trying to go out and branch out and make his own thing too?
First of all, I mean, working for Coach Childs was an unbelievable experience. He is, without a doubt, his own separate coach, and there are a lot of differences. But you can tell where his roots are, and you can tell where he played. And you can see a lot of coach in where you can see a lot of Coach Kudelka, in his style and what he does. But he also, you know, is his own person and likes to be, you know, likes to have fun and likes to relax and likes to, you know, have a different, he's a little bit younger, so he has a little bit different relationship with his players and talks about things with his guys that are, you know, relates to them in a cool way. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say that because I don't want to bag on Coach. So we might have to redo that.
Well, no, I don't think that's bagging. I think that's the product of the age. I mean, Coach Childs is pretty active on social media as well, and Coach Kudelka's getting there. May not be as much. So that makes sense. I'm glad to hear that there were more differences than I would have just assumed. I think that's great. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, there are definitely a ton of differences, but you can, like, he will do things. He remembers things he did not like, which everybody has things they don't like about how a program is run. So he'll remember things he did not like as a player, and then while playing at Lynchburg, and then those players at York still have to go through all of those same things, but he just remembers he didn't like it as a player, so changes it to maybe the way he would have liked it done. Or I think, for instance, is like one of Coach Kudelka's things is you have to wear a belt when we travel. Mm-hmm. You have to wear a belt. Well, Coach Childs is like, I don't really care if you wear a belt. I don't care if you wear a hat, as long as you have to look respectable. But today in this age, like, some pants don't even have belt loops, but they still look respectable and look nice. And how does that help you win the game? You could debate that for a really long time, where if you can't wear a belt to a game, then how are you going to make a big play in a game? Because you can't do a little thing, how are you going to do a big thing? But also, if you're comfortable and relaxed and focused on the game, then not focused on putting a belt on or where the heck your game belt is, then, that's another thing. So
I think those are two good points to bring up, a little bit of just the different coaching styles, essentially, in that conversation. Before we wrap this up a little bit, I just want to take a second to talk about your, I guess, personal health care. Those of you that don't know Eric, big into biking, big into taking care of yourself. Obviously helps that you have a girlfriend that's also in that same boat. What's been the toughest, or maybe even some of the easiest things that you've found during times like this, where a lot of places are kind of shut down, but you do a lot of stuff outdoors. So has that stuff kind of changed for you at all?
The stuff we like to do, Rachel has been getting on the bike a lot more now that she doesn't have any races going on, which is awesome. But that stuff hasn't really changed. They closed down the Appalachian Trail for Rachel, which stinks for running. But otherwise, it hasn't really changed. There's been a lack of motivation because there are no races. But there's some areas of weakness in getting myself in shape for some of the longer distance stuff that I've been able to do now that there are no races, because I have time to do it. So it's been really fun.
How much of that mentality stems from your time at Lynchburg? I'm curious, because you did transfer from another institution, but you had an older brother that was at Lynchburg, the Lombardos, you may have just had that as a family. I'm not sure, but did any of it come from your experience as a Hornet? Yeah,
it is pretty much all of it. It comes from my family and my mom and dad and how they raised us, but it is pretty much all from being an athlete and playing under Coach Kudelka. That's why it was such a good fit. That's why it worked out so well, and that's ultimately why I transferred.
And it seems like one of the best decisions you may have ever made, based on that tone in your voice.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I am appreciative of your time. I'm glad we got to do this and kind of put a bow on what we were trying to do last week, and continued success and luck for you and getting yourself kind of back in a groove after your little bit of break we were talking about before we started the interview.
Yeah, 2 weeks off is tough to bounce back from.
Well, we are sure that you will do it. And once again, man, thanks so much for your time. We hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and happy Memorial Day.
Sounds good. Thanks, Joe.